RA5 zone shall be as follows. The R then doesn't let it, so thereby this clarifies for 5. Is that the change we're trying to make?
I do like it up front,
Yeah,
but there's no reason to read on if you're not in that zone.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think it fits where you put it, John.
But maybe we should leave it back there too. It is under the general requirements,
Yeah, we can leave it there.
but
So,
I think you need to put that in RA and preservation zones right after that business.
so
Just like you
put it
said.
in RA or RA5?
Well, yeah, RA5.
RA5 zone and preservation.
What about the M?
That should match.
Should that be taken out?
Okay, I don't.
That would be a home occupation.
M would be the,
Yeah, it could be, mountain zone. You can build a house on mountain zone.
Yeah.
So does that need to be included in the front as well?
Yeah, it's getting longer than the
Tall enough for preservation and
RA5 preservation and mountain zone.
yeah, so why would, I mean, planning wanted to strike it. I don't have a problem striking it.
Striking,
What's that? M, medical, dental, insurance, business.
oh, we're back on that?
I'm getting confused here.
Yeah, we jumped down from mountain
Yeah,
zones to.
Let's make sure we're good on 82507, the first sentence.
Okay,
Okay.
I got, for the purpose of the chapter, the definition of a home occupation and business for an RA5 preservation or mountain
Zone,
zone shall be as follows.
perfect.
Okay,
That doubles what we put in the back.
okay. And now,
okay.
whatever.
Okay, now, before we move on that, John, I wonder if we should put P160. Because we speak to P160 in the back and that's the actual zone.
So just call it P160.
It is a
instead of
preservation, just so it's consistent throughout.
Yeah.
So keep preservation and P160?
No,
or take
just
it out?
put P160.
Okay, all right.
And then they'll have to ask what that is. What is that zone? Because people do that all the time. What does RA mean? I get that all the time.
Were you good on that line?
Yeah, see?
Followed by,
Then you're also
what can I, can I do commercial?
Yeah.
Residential?
So can I do a bed and breakfast? Okay, so now we got that one. You was moving on to striking
The M,
M, which, yeah,
so that was a recommendation, so, and then O, add this sentence, no hazardous materials will be allowed, to O.
okay, so now we got an issue.
Okay.
Cement is a hazardous. Soap is hazardous. That's too broadly defined to be,
yeah, do they break that?
Kill you faster than an hour?
no, because there's so many different, I mean, look at the silica standard they just came out with. I mean, that's a teaspoon.
I'd rather not.
Okay, does it say, apply, hold on, what are state laws? So in the very beginning of this, it says, no business that is, it has to meet all state laws and regulations, right?
Right, but you put a placard on a truck and you've met that. And now you're saying there's
What
a
about
hazard.
containment, what about containment or not containment and things that could have happened to that product that is brought into the town? I mean,
They're driving through the town anyway. The state has allowed them to do that, so.
driving through, but not parking and staying overnight.
Right. You're right.
What's that?
On the not parking or staying overnight, you have to be in an approved safe haven.
On the highway stuff.
And that can be, parking behind the Silver Eagle, for example, that's a
Zone?
that's a zone because it's,
Is that a UDOT zone that they put out, or is that?
well, it's just, they call it a safe haven. A truck stop is considered a safe haven for hazardous material loads.
Never heard of a truck stop being a safe haven.
Maybe for chemical only.
Some trucker made that up.
Educate me on that, Mark, so just a little bit more, so.
So, there's so many feet on the side of a highway, I'm trying to remember, right? It's been a while since I've
Ballpark it
schooled
though.
on that. So, believe it or not, Highway 43 Heber, which we call Main Street, parking strip on the side of the highway, or the side, like, across the street from Wendy's, which you see guys park there.
You can park.
And run across the road. You could park there for the night legally with a hazardous load.
Wow.
And I wouldn't want to park there very bad for very long,
But you can't.
but you can.
Legally by that, but then you see the Heber City sign. no parking except pickups. So-
Right,
So,
and there are some of them little signs through the town that override that,
yeah,
so
granted, I don't think they're.
I remember a friend of mine lived on Midway Lane, and that's a state road. He could park his truck on the side of Midway Lane in the residential area because that was a state road.
Wow, that's tight.
Yeah, it is, all the way over, that's really tight.
Well, he was in town, he
You
wasn't.
couldn't park on the
uh,
shoulder because there isn't
He was
one.
in the middle.
Oh, so where it wasn't as bad.
You know, where there's curb and gutter and stuff.
What was
So
planning's
is that
decision on that?
clarifying that?
Well, I think they was looking more generally like pesticides, herbicides, things like that, that,
Makes sense not to have except.
So we can't have a licensed pesticide guy? Have a-
so it's saying right there, no hazardous material. And that's what I'm saying,
We're gonna have-
cement,
Yeah, that's.
cement
Got
is
at least two
hazardous
in town,
material.
don't we?
That's
At
not
least
gonna
two?
fly.
Yeah, we got two guys that do.
That's not gonna fly, because that's agriculture too, so.
It is, but that's what I'm saying, soap, according to UDOT, is a hazardous material.
I hate to
In
confess this.
California, everything's hazardous.
That's true.
I was just gonna say, I hate to
Even
say this,
California.
but in California, sawdust is hazardous.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean.
Literally, it is.
So you could say something along the lines of,
Well, I think we cover that in pollution, but to put that into this, I mean, that's so
you
blanket
know, you come
that,
into the trucking side of that, and that's probably where you're worried about the hazardous part, right?
well, I think what they're really
No,
looking at is we do
absolutely.
have some pesticide companies in the town, and they see those trucks parked there and it's visible, and so it's a concern. But the tanker park there probably has twice as bad stuff in it, but they're not concerned about it, because you don't see it like you can in them tanks sloshing around as they drive down the road. I think that's the concern. Lambert, I mean, the guy had barrels in the garage, he lost his mind over it. I mean, it's just like, you know, Mike says, if you think we're gonna go tell somebody what they can have in their garage, you're wrong. That's not what we're doing here, but
So do you think we just need to scratch that? I mean, we added that in our.
it's just so hard to do that, I mean, because it depends
We just-
on,
it's just-
State law trumps it all, so if they're breaking a state law.
I think it can probably just go away.
Okay.
well, and I think that's why I say, under nuisance and pollution, I think we cover that
Yeah, so this,
versus,
So we're gonna keep O as is and just not add, no hazardous materials?
I don't know that it really fit in O anyway.
Yeah, I wondered if that was missing.
If you're striking it and just leaving that out and
And
leaving
so-
O as
on
is.
the recommendation.
Yeah, striking the recommendation is no hazardous material will be allowed, but leaving O as it was before that addition, or that potential addition.
and we did talk about that in planning, that was,
Yeah, I don't, the recommendation comes through is, oh, add the sentence to the end of that.
Yeah. So it basically says keeping this and add the sentence, and we're
Right.
gonna,
No,
But if they can meet the requirements of a bed and breakfast, why is that not allowed? If they can meet the fire flow, what is the,
in this particular business arena,
in all those zones?
it says a conditional use?
Some of them are, in some zones, some is a use. We've been able, really, the hangup on this has been fire suppression. So they
Well,
don't
and I
sign
think that
off
would-
because they don't have fire suppression in there.
I would think that a bed and breakfast would certainly, itself changes the character of the neighborhood, change the character of the house.
Could, yeah, certainly could. But in a preservation zone,
That document you gave us, Eric, way back when Bob always referred to, it came out strong against these. I can't remember exactly why now, I can look that up.
yeah, the short-term rentals or the bed and breakfast,
Both.
both.
Yeah, that line kind of came from there, but I don't remember exactly why now. I could look it up and email it, maybe.
Well, I think-
change it, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think we had that conversation, we're like, well, the bed and breakfast, the owner's on site. So it's not like the short-term rental, the owner's there. So it was less of an impact than what we was talking about, but
I like O.
David? What, somebody read that? Oh,
Yeah, you still can have bed and breakfast in other places.
Short-term
Well,
rentals,
I think our code
Motels,
says they can
bed
have
and
them.
breakfast, and
In these
reception
zones.
centers are not allowed.
But this new zone will keep that out of this
I
particular
thought there
zone.
was more added to it or something.
They were
Well,
gonna
I-
add this
you can have
hazardous
this
thing.
in
Yeah.
The RA
Maybe just the
zone,
way
bed
it
and
is.
breakfast is a use.
Have to meet X amount of criteria.
Right, the criteria, they haven't been able to clear that hurdle yet,
Right.
but I think it is used. So if you go in this one and say it's not allowed, then you need to go into the other and cross it off as a use.
So let's do it. Or do we wanna wait on this?
No, we're too close,
Yeah.
we're 2 words away, 4 words away on this thing.
Forward.
I vote to leave it as it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
And not add the sentence.
Not add the sentence either. So don't add no hazardous.
Hazardous is out.
Yeah.
how does this out?
Did you decide on M?
I think we decided it would
Strike it.
go.
It's out too.
Okay.
So we're down to, are we down to bed and breakfast?
I think that's where you're at, aren't you? I think that's the only thing, and I think if you include that in that line, and you need to look at the rest of the code, because you need to take it out as a use. You have a conflicting code.
So, okay, so where in our code would it be appropriate? So I'm looking at the boys' school turning into a bed and breakfast. That thing's a hotel from, it's a St. Moritz now, because it's a bed and breakfast. Doesn't apply, doesn't work in our zone, doesn't work with our neighborhoods, it changes the whole composition of things, so I don't see, for me it does, maybe not for somebody else.
So why can't we leave it right where it is now? I mean, it's not a home occupation.
And that's kind of where I'm
That's what
coming
we're
from.
saying, anyway.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. We're not gonna license it, but it's a use. That's what this is saying.
So that's okay, right?
Well, I don't think so. I think you want to license it, because the revenue, all the transient room tax you're gonna want if you allow it.
That's.
But you won't allow them to be a business, but they can do it.
Well, maybe we go back and address that.
Well, anyway, I know, that has to be business in the right
So,
zone.
right.
So would that be a commercial
Well, wait a
zone
minute,
possibly,
wait a minute.
or?
You can't have any of those
Breakfasts might be
businesses unless you
somewhere
live
else,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
This is a home occupation.
you got a preservation zone, you got one house.
So that'd be a whole small
168.
business, a home occupation business versus,
Well, that's what I'm wondering, if
Yeah.
bed and breakfast, they would be living there?
on the other side, on our other,
Yeah,
uh,
no. And that's what we talked about earlier, they're living there. That you don't have the same turmoil that you have with the
With
rental.
the rental, yeah.
You have somebody there that you can knock on the door and say, "Here."
then you got size,
Oh.
and we don't wanna control size of homes, and say, well, homes, 100 feet over the size limit, so you can't have one, so, meaning a bed and breakfast, once again, I'm using a big giant house as a hotel versus a typical bed and breakfast that might not be so big.
But
One would be probably okay, and one to me would not be okay.
I don't know if bed and breakfast requires that someone lives on the place. Is that in the definition?
I think it is.
I'm not sure, I guess, what the definition of bed and breakfast
I
is.
think, oh, yeah, a bed and breakfast doesn't say it has, well, somebody's gotta be there.
I was gonna say, otherwise it's a
Yeah,
hotel.
the general rule of thumb is.
Somebody's
the
fixing your
homeowner's
breakfast.
there and being like a guest, or serving them as a guest in their home.
So
It's not a
maybe,
bed and
maybe, I-
breakfast. That-
Somebody
I've never seen one,
understood.
but That was my assumption,
Yeah, somebody's got to fix breakfast.
like going to a boarding house in the old westerns.
yeah, that's what I pictured as, but I just was thinking, when Eric said someone has to live there, do they really have to live there? Is that the
Well,
definition?
they do if they're gonna get it under home occupation.
In this.
Yes,
so-
they do.
Okay,
But you could also kind of go up to this line K, when there's 4 pieces allowed, you could say you could have 4 rental rooms. You could cap the size of it, and you could use this 4 as the, isn't it, well, this guy got to have 4 pieces of equipment, you can have 4 rental rooms.
I like go the way it is.
I like it.
And if we need to change something else, let's change it.
Now, that being said, you're talking new public hearing, new,
Well, we don't have to do it next month, but we can start working.
you have a conflict, well, this won't be done by next month.
Yeah. So,
I guess I'm missing the link on the like, if one's approved on the other home occupation business, but not on this one, why is this?
If it's a use in the zone, it's not in the business
Okay,
part.
there you go, it's missed.
So it's a
Yeah,
use
yeah,
in the zone,
yeah.
and now all of a sudden you bring this
Yep,
in,
yep, yep, yep.
subcategory saying it's not allowed.
Right.
So now you have 2 conflicting, so what do we
So
do?
what do you recommend?
I would take out
Oh,
bed and
wording.
breakfast, it goes away. It's already allowed in the zone.
Okay,
It has to clear the same hurdles that's kept them out so far.
okay.
If we strike that, are we done?
Oh, I don't know if you're done.
Amongst ourselves, I think.
I'm done.
I'm done.
I think that was our last
I'd
strike.
like to be done.
Anybody else? Ryan's got a smile, I think he's,
I'm good.
you're
He's
good.
happy with his.
He knows you're not done either.
That's why he's smiling.
So if we like what it says, then I think if we're ready to move forward with it, I think that now we need to do the definitions, and I would push it back to planning to work on the definitions. And what is, if they push these changes, they must have a thought of what the definitions are of those.
Fair enough.
Does that
So,
apply to the first part that was just home occupations, and this is an addendum or an amendment to that?
Is
So
it?
you're gonna define the whole,
Well, I don't know that needs definition like this needs definition. We went through that one pretty good. That was pretty fast.
the first round.
Right. And so I don't see, is there a conflict in that one?
not that I'm aware of, I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if you need to look at this to see if anything needs to be better defined.
I think
What
we'll co-look at
specifically do you
those.
want to find, Derek? I don't know.
Well, I think the combination we were just talking about needs to be defined. I think that there's a bunch of things in here that need
I
defined.
think we did define that, didn't we? I felt like we had that defined, right in that,
I think there might be some, but I think we could find that one.
yeah, that's the one.
We did a lot of trailer talk on that.
Yeah, we did.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. You're gonna send me out to do this and I'm not clear on it. So I need a definition.
There we go. On what?
On a lot of these, you're gonna send me out and you're gonna say that. So what's a combination? Well, except for that ties back into the 5 pieces or the 4 pieces.
No,
We made that change down to 4, so
Right.
then we just clarified what the tractor trailers.
You clarified, but it's not in this document.
Correct.
So we have an understanding, but we have to tell the public that understanding.
But it's going in,
It's going in.
in
That's-
the notes.
We added that.
We added that.
So you understand everything else in here?
No, I think
I
definitions is a good idea.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
We're talking next
But
month.
we do have to highlight the issues that we have.
I think the easiest way to do that is read that. You've got 7 members of the planning commission, and everybody, something's gonna click to somebody that didn't click to somebody else.
Let's just send it to planning and let them do the
Let's send it to
definitions.
planning.
And let's just start on the definitions,
For
and then we'll come back
definitions.
here and we'll look at them.
And that's the last leg of this code, is the definitions.
Right.
Correct.
do you want them sent to complete then, both parts
Yep.
of the home occupation?
Yeah,
To
we-
make sure
I
you
think we
don't
can
need
do 'em both.
definition- Okay,
Absolutely, because if it's a definition here, but in the first part, it conflicts, then we'll have to work that definition.
one thing I notice is on the first part, a home
found
occupation
it.
license is valid for 1 year and can be renewed annually. And in this home
Biannual.
occupation, office and business, you say it's a biannual renewal.
Yeah, so we'll need to change that because we're sending everything to the planning commission
Yeah,
and on a 2-year thing because of this.
so you do need to review the first part as well.
Yeah, I think harmoniously together because the
Okay.
definition will cross lines.
So do you think 2 years is good enough? 2 years,
Well-
that's a long time.
It is a long time. A lot can go wrong in 2 years and a lot can go right in
But
2
if there's
years.
no complaint.
And that's what we was thinking.
The
If there's
idea,
no-
when I
if
wrote
there's
it,
no complaints,
There you go.
Yeah,
that,
and if it's complaints, it's gonna be complaint driven anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
So that means that we're not creating work
That
for
makes
the
sense.
town.
Lightens that burden a little bit.
A little bit,
And if you got a
yeah.
complaint, we deal with it. If not, they got 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. That was the.
and so I guess the last thing we have on this is what did the attorney say on regulating the home business? He's supposed to be getting back with what
He is, I talked to him today as far as all the issues and he has not answered the regulation and or the fee that we would charge yet. He's answered probably everything except for that particular one. So I do not have an answer if we can or should or shouldn't charge and or, but as I do know, as far as regulating and have it, we have total, complete, 100% control and say of what we want in our code and what we can have. I just don't have the answer for payment for a business license. That's what you're asking me, right?
Right, right. How much, well, I guess the regulation falls into that, because if you're not getting paid to do any of this, it's a huge deal for the town. I mean, you're sending out quite a bit of,
Without being paid.
right,
But how
right.
do you not do it though, too?
I mean, that'd be every single municipality not getting paid for any kind of thing in the state, and I
Right,
I
and
don't
so,
believe that.
and so that's what you have on the internet. Holiday, those guys are like, have fun. We're not regulating, because we can't.
the city holiday,
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them, they can't. The attorneys have told them they can't regulate it, they can't charge for it, they can't regulate it. They're like, we no longer issue businesses. And so we have, if you look, go on the League of Cities and Towns and look at how many of them have pulled out. They're not even regulating. And that's why I wanted our attorney's opinion on it. Because if we're just, you know, what is the, and I think the legislature realizes they've overstepped it and they may change it.
and you know what, I'm trying to think of specific questions, but I think he still said they're up in the air and there's changes that are gonna be made to it. I mean, he just couldn't come up with an
Yeah.
answer yet.
And we see that on everything, you know, the annexation or building a town. They throw it out there and then, oh my gosh, what do we do? So we change it and then the next year we change it again. And then this year they've done it
It
again.
never ends.
Right.
It never-
And right now Timber Lakes is in the middle of that very issue. They actually got it filed before the new laws took effect. So that's pushing through to be their own town up there, but it was just so, the new laws are out now and they're like, oh my gosh, how do we do that?
So I've got 3 questions. One to readdress business license fee and
I'm very confident that that's a no.
I know you are on the fee. As far as regulation, I know he said we can regulate and have our zoning. I mean, they're not affecting our zoning what we can for our town, but
Right.
I think
Yeah.
you might be, but yeah, I'll find out.
So there's at least 4 cities that have done that have just said we're not, they just can't do it. Their attorneys are like, you're just hot water or something, which is a total mistake in my opinion, because if you're not, what are you protecting?
And it can change back next year.
Are they not issuing any business licenses?
They are not regulated in their cities.
And they're letting another form of the government do the regulating?
No. No, because the state is not gonna issue those licenses. The county's
So
not.
these cities are giving up and just letting free for all?
On the advice of their attorneys, it's just like, we're no longer regulating these, have a great time. Write your legislator if you don't like your neighbor's business. Yeah, so there's at least 4 of those that are going on, and matter of fact, 2 of them are headed to court because of what was said in the council meeting on the tapes.
The cities or the council members?
Yeah,
All of the above. Well, I guess they're representing the cities. So.
yep.
I do have 3 questions then for Dave. One would be to readdress the business license, map boundaries, and set precedent for that zone boundary, how that may affect it. I think that's a question that came up. And also, Stormhaven and Daniel water. So
Okay, so are you ready for a motion?
I am.
I make a motion that we approve these changes that we made tonight and send it back to planning to work on definitions.
Okay. We have a motion to accept what's been done tonight and what's been done tonight and send it to planning for definition. I like it. We have a motion.
Second.
You have a second. You have a discussion?
Yeah, I wish there was another council over here to vote for that.
I do too.
So do I. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That moves on to planning for definitions. Excellent.
Wow,
What a tough deal,
Thank you,
huh?
Mark.
but that's awesome. It's worked out good, I think.
It's amazing. Well, we'll see what the attorney says.
Yeah.
You'll probably have a couple of changes after all our hard work.
Before we do definitions, do you think we ought to send it to the attorney? For as far as,
What if he sends it back for definition?
Well, when we sent it back to him once we did define to make sure that our definition,
maybe do the whole thing at once, huh? Yeah.
because what we define, like you were thinking UDOT's definition may or may not.
Yeah, and if he doesn't like the thing, then there's no reason to define it, it's out.
He'll look at our hard work and hopefully make something work.
Yeah, red pen it.
Alright. Okay, we're on to number 6. Eric, back to you. Plan department reports and violation enforcement.
Okay. Okay, here's the planning report for the month of November. Ryan, do you need to know what we did?
Probably.
Or do you want Kim to know?
Is there anything on there I don't know that I did?
I hope not. We'll find out. Anybody else? Want one of these?
Sure.
See what, if your name appears on there, you're in trouble, huh?
Hey, we need some under. Can I go home?
Yeah.
I mean, the trouble.
Oh, it doesn't, that just means you are in trouble, that the negative is not necessarily
Yeah,
true.
it just means you're not on the front page. So that's what we've been working on. As you can see, there's a couple of things that's gonna be, one of them was the Daniel Academy called in Blue State for final grade, so there must have been going landscape along with that building permit that they had. I don't think that they've got any permit from us for the landscaping, but none would be required, so. But that's just as a note, that the final grade for landscaping.
Where you have ranch drive repair options, I can comment on that.
Go ahead.
With regards to that road, on our conversation, there was another person who deals more on the school district side of things in this particular arena. And it has not moved along too fast, but they were trying to quantify the damage to the road that was done, and thereby it may take till after winter, but he's very well aware of that year bond with regards to their contractor and how that might come into play and things, and he seems to worry, except for he knows that that's part of the equation.
Okay.
So we did discuss that as far as timing, and I would think by in a month or so, we should have some kind of a basis to what we're gonna be looking at, but I don't think we're gonna have a dollar amount. I don't think we're gonna have, our plan set as much as we're gonna, after spring is probably when we'll be moving forward, but we'll have everything prepared for that, and you might be want to talk to me.
Oh.
But yeah, but as soon as that gal comes back, then there may just be some, just clarity issues or time.
On the Heftel zone change, Eric, are we just in a holding pattern?
Yeah, they didn't come through with the funding, so I don't have a completed application, so that's where that stands. I haven't heard a word since they came here and met with us. I haven't heard anything from anybody on that side.
Did we ever give them any feedback as to it would be considered and you possibly would get it, or no way you'd get it, or?
No, I don't think the feedback is you're certainly able to apply.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I tell everybody, it's your right to apply, absolutely. I did mention to Jeff that based on what we had, the information we had at the time, that most likely would not pass. Because with the information that we dug up, clearly the case is not made that was done prior to town.
But it seemed like they got a 32 piece and a 5 acre piece, and we won't let them separate that?
No, it's in a P160 zone. You have to have 160 acres on that zone.
And they can apply for a change to RA5, but we think we might not be in favor of that.
Based on the sensitivity of that ground and that close proximity to that creek,
Oh, to the creek.
yeah.
I see what you mean.
So you got landslide along with flooding. It's a particular sensitive piece of property. And I think that, even the legality of splitting that piece off that is split off, I think at this point with the information we have, it's an illegal split. It's one parcel. So, I mean, you can sell off an acre of your ground and the town wouldn't know that until somebody shows up and say, I want to build a house on that acre. And here we are, well, that's RA5 zone now. And we do have that in this town. We have people that have sold parcels off.
So weren't those things a couple of quick claims? That's why,
Well, yeah, because they didn't want to do the survey, so they just did a quick claim on it. But, which is totally legal, but it just limits, I mean, you're able to do what has been done there. But if you want to change that, we have parcels in the town that against the advice from the town, changed their parcel, which was a non-conforming lot. Now they've changed the parcel, that changes that parcel to an illegal lot. Now, if you want to refinance, if you want to, they come, that's right, it's a huge issue. Now you have an illegal lot. To rectify that, I mean, it's great that somebody's standing there handing you some money, but down the road, that's tough. It's
Okay.
tough stuff.
That helps clarify that, thank you.
I know it's bad news, but I just hated to see them spend that money
Yeah.
on something that, I didn't want to lead them on.
But do they understand what you just described to me?
I don't think that they do, although all that information that you had in your packet I gave you, I also gave to the hotels.
Okay.
So they have those record dates, and that's why I put it in your packet, so that you guys had that understanding, that if this moves forward, we have other things to look at. That's why I said if we receive that kind of a request again, I think that we don't move on it, that we do some investigation, then we decide if we're gonna accept that application. Because as it stood, we made a motion to accept that application. And had that information been available to the council, we would have never accepted that application. You still apply, but you're gonna wait till July to do that. So we're not gonna make a special exception, because we just didn't have all the information in our hands. And so it kinda, I
That would
know,
be helpful and
It's
just
tough.
to have all the information.
yeah, it's just tough.
But they're clear on.
I don't know that they're clear, I don't know. Like I said, I've had no context.
Or they at least know to ask you if they're not clear, I think.
They'll ask somebody, I know,
Yeah.
I know, I don't know. Maybe not, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I know where to find some of them. Any other questions on that? The Ranch Drive, all the trailers are gone, all the equipment's gone down there,
Read that.
so.
Now, has anybody talked to him since that all happened, or do we know why he just kind of, did he finally understand, or?
Yeah, I think the homeowners association put a lot of pressure on him down there. And then, of course, we went down and told him he couldn't park on the road because he was actually parked on the County Daniel property with those. So he moved them clear to the back, and then they just disappeared, so. There's still some rock and some pile of dirt there, but I think it looks good down there, yeah.
Good.
Okay, public hearings for your tax increase, you guys should probably be aware of that. It's not part of the planner report, but, yeah, I don't know if anybody starts in the back of the wave. The filing requirements for candidacy, declaring candidacy is coming right up. So, declaration of intent to gather signatures is January 2nd. You have to file your notice of intent if you're gathering signatures. The county council seats open this year are seat A at large, seat north, seat C, and county seat east, F. We have 3 councils that are open, and if you're gonna get the signatures for that deadline to file that is January 2nd. Everybody should know that. The filing fees, and a lot of people are,
Why is not filing for those positions different than our filings for our timing for elected?
because it's a state,
It's just-
yeah, instead of a
Still.
municipal election, it's a state election, so they kicked that out. And so also the Board of Adjustments has openings, but there's a fee, if you want to run for county council, your filing fee, which the county just voted 3 years ago to up, is $131.82. $588.43 for the attorney, clerk and auditor is $408, and sheriff is $536.
So the application fees?
That's the fee you pay if you want to run, you have to put that fee money up, so, yeah, it was very weird on the vote.
You gotta really wanna be in politics to do
Well, I
that.
was just like, why are we making it so expensive for somebody who wants to get involved? It's like, this is nuts. Yeah, it's like, I didn't get that, but that was their vote, and I was just like, what? So, of course, I had to spout off about it. We have also, you guys probably saw in the wave, the tax notice for the new budget. Fire is going 48%, and Heber Light and Power is doing the public hearing for their budget, which is included another $300,000 back to the municipalities, the 3. So that's part of their budget process too. If you don't like it, you should go be heard. So I'm not the only one there.
So they're asking for $1 million from the municipalities to give the Heber Light and Power? Is
No,
that-
their fees, their budget includes the fees that they charge you in their budget. They're giving back Heber, Midway, who's the other one? Charleston, $100,000. They did that last year.
They did it last year too.
Oh,
And so the fees that they charge you, they're putting the 100,000 back to those 3 principal municipalities. Which, you know, they didn't mention that when they wanted us to sign up for a franchise agreement.
I thought it was a nonprofit, wasn't it?
Well, it is if you give the money away.
Profit to somebody who receives the money, isn't it?
So that, anyway, that's part of their budget. If you read the budget, it's a little bit. Is that enough on public hearings? There's a bunch of them. You really ought to check the notices. As another note, we need to fix our website. As you go into our website, to get a hold of any members, it's pretty hard to put in that address. That's what appears on our website to get a hold of the council. It's spellout.com.
Chris did that.
It's awesome. I was wondering if we couldn't just make it a link so they could just click on that for a link into the email.
And which one do you, I'm looking around, which one I mean, right, he's, right.
.org. Okay. So if you're trying to put that in, it's not coming.
It's not going. Yep.
And so we got some people in Store Haven
I was
that
gonna say,
maybe
plenty of
can't get
people
a
that
hold
would
of
not
us.
put that together like I just did, so.
You can't spell out dot. Expect it to go.
I think he's doing that to try to get the robots that look for email addresses. Can't find it because it doesn't fit the right format when you do it that way, but yeah, it may screw up some people too.
Yeah. I was thinking, well, there's a reason that
So
some of
you,
them aren't coming
you just
through.
pull this off, I can call Chris and.
Yeah, I just printed that off the website. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, the general fund I talked about, all of the people that are up for election, they're doing a 3% raise. So here's the budget. It's online on the Wasatch County website. And you're able to view the budget and everything that's going on. That public hearing will be this week also. Everything's crammed into December. That's enough out of Eric, don't you think?
Yes. Oh,
That's my
no. I didn't
girl.
realize that. Sorry.
Can you hear about that when you get home?
I'll take that as a suggestion. So, then if we're done with 6, 7 will be adoption of Daniel Ordinance 2017-12-04, establishing meeting schedules for public meeting in 2018. And I know we went over this last month, but I think we have the I'll read the ordinance, and do you have any discussion before I read the ordinance?
The only thing when I brought that up in planning, they said it's already ran in the paper. Yeah, they said it's nice you're asking us, but it's already ran in the paper. I'm like, oh. So I'm glad you approve.
I didn't put it in the paper.
And so what happened last time? Didn't we approve it, and then we're just doing the
No, I gave you the dates, so you would have an idea of
oh, and then we,
what they're gonna be.
Okay.
And now
Now
you're
we're
passing
approving
the ordinance on those dates unless there's something you wanna change.
Planning gave their blessing. I guess I should have brought a recommendation letter from them. But we got the report, it was done.
okay, I'm just gonna read the purpose, and we'll get through this then. Short title would be your effective date, January 1, 2018. Short title, 2018 Daniel Town Meeting Schedules. Purpose, the purpose of this ordinance is to adopt a 2018 meeting schedule for the Daniel Town Council, Planning Commission, and Board of Appeals. Ordinance be it ordained by the governing legislative body of the town that all meetings will be held at Wasatch County Service Buildings located at 25 South, 500 East, Heber City, Utah, in the North Conference Room 126 unless noted otherwise. Except for the January and September meetings, which will be held on the second Monday of the month due to federal holidays, the monthly town council meetings shall be held on the first Monday of each month at 6 p.m. The Daniel Planning Commission meeting will be held on the third Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. and the Board of Appeals will be held on the first or second Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. as needed. The published schedule is subject to change by town officers due to unforeseeable circumstances and will expire on December 31st, 2018. Any town officer is hereby authorized to provide notice of the scheduled meetings, meeting cancellation and/or meeting date changes, and agenda for such meetings in accordance with the law of the state of Utah. A copy of the schedule is attached to this ordinance. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Good second?
Second.
Good second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It takes all of us tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes care of 7.
Are you checking off the,
I signed mine and did the budget, yeah.
thank you.
I learned after 4 years, that's what it's supposed to take 4 years to remember. Maybe not.
You can be taught.
I am still teachable. Number 8 is discussion of new clerk and needed for space to store town records. This is more for, I guess, discussion here. There's a person that kind of looked all year that we found a person to be our clerk. She has met with Mary. She has met with Lynn. Lynn, I believe, had a good discussion and kind of lets her know the realities of what her job is going to be.
She's out, huh?
We have we've always talked about this as a council, that we may one day get a clerk that we can't store all of our records that she has to have access to in their house. Trying to solve that problem, there is an office space on Daniels Road. It is Mark Bolthorpe's insurance business building that has 2 rooms, internet, phone, power, and we would have to get our own phone line, and it would be an address that would work, and they're looking at about $600 a month for the town to have that. So this is kind of a stepping stone, depending on what we feel we need to do. We don't have a whole lot of options, though, as far as, I think, expecting someone that may want to be the clerk to also store all the records that are accumulating in their own house, and I don't know how many people have a second bedroom. So, I'd love to hear some thoughts from you guys about it.
Okay, so do we clarify what the office space is? Is it an office?
It's actually 2 rooms. Well, one would be a conference room and one would be an office. And it would have, the power bill would be included in that, the internet bill would be included in that. We would have to add a phone line, and that would be our extent of expenses for that space.
Heating, light, all that's paid?
And so this will offer, well, I guess this will afford us, if we have to meet with somebody, the office will be available to, they want to come to your house, you'll be able to meet them at the office. So what kind of hours are we looking at? Are we?
I think it's totally flexible, 1 to 4. I mean, whatever we decide or she decides, I think it's.
I mean, are you open after hours to get into this office? Is
We certainly would be able to have access for sure. We'll be able to have our keys and go in.
Whenever?
Yeah.
there, okay.
You bet.
So does it have a separate outside entrance? Is that what you're getting at, Eric? Is
Yeah, if it's available for the town to use and we have enough, I'm not gonna have people show up at my house if I got an office I can meet them at.
And that's happened. There's some people I wouldn't mind, but I don't want to meet folks at my house. I have my office, which has worked great for this, but, you know, at my house,
Right.
I would prefer maybe on some occasions to meet at our office.
Right, yeah, if you're meeting a realtor or several instances we meet, and so I take Ryan and we head into town somewhere and meet somewhere if we have an office available. I mean, they've been good to let us use their conference center down there, and we've used that several times.
Is it a separate entrance, do you know?
I do not know if it's separate. I know that we would have full access, whether it's separate. If you go to the front door and then up the stairs, I don't know exactly.
So would it be their conference room, or is that just two separate, an office and a conference room?
Well, there's a conference room upstairs and downstairs. We would have the upstairs. There's one other room up there that a guy's there once a month that has his own lock, would not be able to have access to any of our stuff or in our room at all. Also helps keep the rent down to where we don't need that whole upstairs. We just really need a room and that person get access to. So I guess what I'm looking for from the council is just to be able to move together and kind of help put this together, and she would be planning here to be next month, and I know Lynn has offered to help train for the first quarter of next year, and at that point, I think that our training would be done, and we would hopefully be moving on and things, so. Lynn, if you don't mind me asking, how do you feel about that person and your discussion and things?
I didn't meet for maybe just an hour, but she seemed very sharp. You know, computer skills, great. She works, as Chip said, for the insurance office, has all the computer skills needed. She does Facebook. I mean, the league, everybody promotes that your municipality have a Facebook page to get information out. It seems to interest a lot of people. She's savvy with that where I'm not. You know, I think she could bring in some good ideas and new blood.
Did you familiarize her with the Polaris?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Is that a concern?
Is that what?
Is that a concern for you?
No, I
No.
think she'll
Okay.
pick it up quickly. She told me that she used to work for the sheriff's office.
And the safety
dispatch.
inspection.
She's got a very diversified background, and she said she learns things very quickly, and I believe her. Just in our quick conversation, she said, I understand you.
I mean, what kind of records are we looking at, Lynn, from this?
The way they were given to me was in boxes, which is a concern because they had a flood. I think she said it was in their building, but an office somewhere, water got in there. If your records are in boxes and it gets wet, you know, a lot of them get destroyed. I think I'd like to go to file cabinets, and I think we could fit our records in 2 or 3 that we need to maintain. I want to work over the next 2 months on the retention schedules. I think I have a lot of records that that should be destroyed. You know, I talked to Chip, get a shredder and just records. You know, that there are the different categories,
Right.
and each type you retain for a different amount of years. But
Some forever,
if you as a city or town don't adopt your own retention schedule,
then you fall into the state.
then you fall into the state. And there are so many areas that our town doesn't have, a police department, a cemetery, I mean, you know.
We do, it's just not marked, the cemetery.
That tree, there's more on that tree.
So, you know, our records aren't that voluminous, and I think in the process of the destruction, you did keep a destruction log of what you've gotten rid of. That, you know, we could probably come up with a type of retention schedule as well of our own.
And isn't that whatever we decide on some of those categories?
Yes, and it has to be
Well,
approved by the state.
Yeah, some of it you're required, I mean.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
keep
some
forever.
records have to be kept forever, and that would be in your schedule, the same as theirs.
Like a bad video on YouTube, it's forever.
But, I mean, it's not real voluminous, but at this point, we have them in a number of different places. I'm sure you'd love to get rid of some of the stuff in your house if you can't.
Well,
find a place to
and you
put
know,
it.
and you gave me that retention schedule, and I go through that, and it's just like, oh my
It's
God.
280
So let me ask you, how
pages.
many do you have?
You don't even wanna know.
Okay. Are there some that you have that you'd like to be putting away?
Yes. Oh,
Sorry. Got that answer?
You've got records
Well
stored at the pump house.
believe.
We do,
We
yeah,
do.
yeah.
And Sherry's got records that go back,
Sherry, yeah.
the financial records forever, you know, in the basement. I mean, that shouldn't be necessary for town employees, and they're in so many places. Let's get them all in one place and keep what we need to keep and get rid of the rest.
Yeah, and I don't even know if we ever get a litigation hold. I mean, I don't even know where half of this stuff is, you know, we've had Mary there, you've been there, and I'm sure you all have
Right.
your own file system, I have mine, Shelley hates it, but,
And I think this is a good opportunity if we do get them in one place, that between the new clerk and I, you know, try to organize things better. You bring your things over, tell us how you want them to be, so they're easily
all I
accessible.
want is where you can find them if I
Yeah.
need them. It's my only requirement.
It's
Just have to
not
have
a
a planning
tremendous
department
amount.
section.
Little easier to
But when
access.
you've got, you know, 6 or 8 boxes of records sitting and stacked, and, you know, and you just have a smaller office with a desk and a computer, you know, It's
Yeah.
not the ideal situation. The town would most likely want to buy her a new computer. Mine is 4 years old now, and I think, you know, it's time. The printer is fine. Printer, scanner, copier works great. I don't think there's a lot of equipment involved in the change.
And that computer you're referring to would be a desktop, not a laptop?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Chris would probably hook that same thing into Dropbox and
Transfer all the
I
information.
know mine's hooked into there, and there's probably a lot of stuff nobody needs, but everything goes there, so anything I do on that computer is in my last.
Automatically?
Yeah, and so everything that was on my home computer's in there. I mean, I have documents from 06, 05, I mean, it's all in that Dropbox, so, which is nice. I mean, if you do have a problem, it's there, so,
Sure.
and it's quick to access. I don't mind that at all, but.
So you're looking for a motion on this to go
Well-
ahead with that, or just information?
I just really presented the information, and that's where we stand on our clerk, and that's where I'd like to move forward. I do probably need a motion that we have that we're able to do that rental and probably take care of the rental aspect of it. I don't know if we have to have a motion, but I think we probably, I don't know. Would we need one on that, Lynn? Or do we just agreement? I don't know.
I think in some way the council should approve the additional cost.
Yeah, that's kind of through a motion and,
Yeah. One other thing is, what kind of lease are we tied into yearly?
so as of right now, none, and that.
Month to month?
We can make it whatever, what we decide on here, I would take back, and it would probably work for them.
They do month to month.
Yeah,
Great.
it's awesome.
Okay, so I mean, you know, I mean.
That's how they do it at my house, month to month.
If we want month to month, I mean, great, I don't plan on leaving after a month, just because.
Right,
whatever, but,
right.
um,
But it does give you that if there's an issue.
Okay, so if I have month to month, what's the next, where's my range to work with them on it? If he says, well, give me 6 months or a year? Any of the above, you guys comfortable with any of the above, or?
Whatever
Okay.
you can work
Yeah.
out for me.
I think a year, I think,
No more than a year.
well, yeah, I think a year's,
Too long.
yeah, maybe.
What if they all of a sudden decide they got a better render after 2-3 months? I think a year is a fair.
That's true, that saves us on that other end, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's 6 months to a year is most standard on a lot of rental things like that. And
You know, and I figured that person would be here 4 years, so thereby 1 year at a time, possibly, but I get if someone left in 6 months, if they're gonna hold us to that 6 month. But maybe we'd still use that and have a person there, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
I think at this point, you just need to go to them and get all the specifics, see what they're willing to do, what the exact cost is gonna be.
Well, I have,
and
so
then
the exact
come
cost
back
is
with
the
the
600, the
council.
power and internet we have. I just don't have the entrance, which I need to get, and then probably what time at least they feel comfortable with, and shorter better for us, I guess.
Yeah. So do you
But like
need,
Mark says too, it also locks them in for going and getting someone else,
or raising your rent.
raising the rent. So why would we ever move?
Daniel
I can't
was
see why,
devastated.
at least for 4 years.
well, I don't know, I
Well,
mean,
if you
stuff
don't have
happens.
$6
It does.
happen.
Yeah.
The protection at $600 a month for all that,
That sounds cheap.
yeah,
It seems pretty reasonable to me.
I think a 6 month would be fine.
Yeah, absolutely, I think
Okay.
6 months,
I'll shoot for
you
6
can't get
If
825.
it doesn't work,
in
you
6
can
months.
make it a bed and breakfast. Nothing
Okay,
goes anyway.
See how Heber City likes us, huh?
So if you put for the next agenda, I'll report back and have all these taken care of the next agenda. I will get that dollar amount and the lease amount and probably get authorization to sign it all next month and have everything put into place, ready for our understanding for next month.
Okay, and we'll have Mary here and she can
And Mary-
experience the meeting.
Yep.
Another Mary, but not an M-E-R-R-Y.
And yes, next month literally would be starting and that overlap would,
So do we need to discuss her in closed session, or are you okay here?
That was, needs to be discussed, yeah.
It's an appointed position, isn't it?
It is.
So you pick whoever you want?
That's
Well,
it.
it's advice and consent of the council.
Yeah.
So you got one name in the hat, though.
That's what I'm.
I jump ahead when I only have one
Makes the
name.
picking a little easier.
Yeah, that's where I'm.
This or nobody, okay.
So no, Eric is right, I mean, that's kind of, I've already done it once, but advise and consent, I mean, from the council, then the money, the authorization to be able to spend the money. Just the two things that's level.
Yeah, I think we're moving forward that way. I don't, we should definitely have a motion for that and move it forward.
Chair will entertain a motion.
To do what?
To move forward, to
Move it
secure.
forward, a good enough motion?
To expend the funds to secure the office and
Okay, move. Here, go ahead. I know you hate to make motions, so I can make it if you don't now.
it doesn't matter, there's only 3 of us, we're all gonna vote. So I make a motion that we approve the funding to secure the facility for the office and move towards Mary, whatever you need to do to secure that
Okay.
as we move for the records for the town.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, I'll move forward. I'll be reporting back next week.
Awesome, okay.
And we've taken care of 9 and 10 with Kim, so we're going to 11, approval of council meeting council meeting and public hearing minutes on November 6th, 2017. Did you get a chance to look at those or read
I
those?
didn't, so can we put those off and run?
Okay. Do this here and, did you make a motion?
My only concern is I'd like to get the CDBG minutes
Oh, yeah.
in the system. I guess if it's approved in January, it still gives us enough time because the second hearing doesn't take place until, and if an award isn't given. Are you okay with that if we do it in January?
We have to.
Well,
yeah.
well, I think we can approve them, and then as I read them, if I have any changes, we can come back and amend them at that point, can't we? Or is it better to wait?
It's better to wait.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's wait. Sorry, I just didn't get to it.
That's, okay.
I was hoping someone else would be here.
So, did you make that motion to continue?
I didn't, I just had a couple of questions on these
Okay.
as I read through those. Are we calling that an impact fee or connection fee on the water line?
Yes. Which one?
We have, Brian Taylor stated when a new customer pays the impact fee. And are we calling that an impact fee or connection fee?
Well, we have both, is why I'm asking. So we have the
Well, it says you
impact,
said it. What'd you say?
so we have the impact fee of the $10,760 whatever dollars.
Uh-huh.
And then we also have the connection fee, which is the cost that the town incurs to physically make a connection.
Okay, maybe you better come read this, Ryan. It's all you, so.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 7, sorry.
I have a month anyway, right?
Yeah, but if she's gonna correct something, she'll do it before then. I just didn't know the impact versus connection fee, because there is a difference.
So I think it reads correctly. So if a new customer pays the impact fee for water service, they are still responsible for the installation of the water line. So we can change that to water line or water meter, or
If it's
connection
okay
to
the
the
way it
water
is.
line, but if it requires excavation in the street to hook into the main, Kim Norris stated blah, 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 that can be upwards of $5,000.
I just know there were some different requirements, recording requirements, connection versus impact, so.
Okay.
You like it? Okay. And then, just on, this doesn't have to do with the minutes, but it says we have a correction action plan. He's gonna send that to me, I haven't seen that yet, right? Corrective action plan? We talked about it, but we just didn't. Here it comes, right?
You got it.
You have delivered.